car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Hello, Pensacola, and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Iven, owner of Frontier Motors, and we have been doing this show for 23 years. So if you are not in the market for a car, don't turn the channel yet, because we're going to be talking about other things other than just you buying a car from Frontier Motors. We're going to be talking what's going on in the car industry, what's new, what's changing in the car industry, and also what we can do for you when you are in the market for a car. There's so many people that I have talked to said, I didn't think I'd need your services. I saw the TV show, but my car got smashed up, or my car got flooded, or my car just expired, and now I need your services. And our services that we provide at no charge, number one, is free advice. If you got any questions, you can talk to our managers, which we have 3 of, and you can also talk to our salespeople, because they watch the show. And they will do what we talk about that we do on the show, which is number one, give you free advice. Number two, tell you how much a car should be, not just by book values. You do not need Frontier Motors to get a book value. You can go online and get that. You can call your banker. But what we do is we give you reality. Is the book high or low? You'd want to know that, wouldn't it? If your banker gave you a book value on a car of $25,000, what should you really pay for that car? What if that car is selling for way less than $25,000? Or in some cases, hard to get cars like the Chevy Corvette selling way over their book value on the particular car. Example, a Wrangler, which by the way has the highest resale value of any vehicle sold last year, was a Jeep Wrangler, and they have a value higher than what book is, because books drop all the time. Sometimes the vehicles don't drop all the time. So that's the difference. And the other thing we do for you also is we will give you a free history report. Everybody knows what Carfax is. Well, they're quite expensive, $40 plus tax. So you're looking at about $42, $43 for one Carfax report. If you're looking at 5 different cars, it adds up, doesn't it? So you call Frontier Motors with the ID number, and we will run that Carfax report for you at no extra charge. The other thing we also tell you is which is a good car and which is a bad car. I subscribe to Consumers Reports, get them all the time. Love reading it from cover to cover, especially when they come out with the car issues, which they come out with twice a year. Now, every Consumer Reports I get, the last 4 or 5 pages of every Consumer Reports is always about cars, but they do have twice a year, they have the car editions. And one of the things they bring out once a year is the brand values. What does brand value mean? That means it's which is the best car overall according to Consumer Reports. Not according to Frontier Motors, but most of the time we jive with Consumer Reports as far as what they're thinking. And last year, or actually this is in 2020, but in 2019, the number one car that they said was a Porsche. Now that is unbelievable in my book, because I still think of Porsches as a crappy sports car. Well, not anymore. And I'm talking about 25 years ago. They were little rust buckets. I moved down here from Wisconsin. A Porsche would last maybe 5 years up there before they had holes in them. The rust was so bad. Now again, long time ago, all the way from not being that good of a car for reliability, being a phenomenal sports car, a phenomenal handling car, and a very fast car, but not a very reliable or good car. Now they are. Now, one of the reasons that they made it to the top, they only had 3 models tested. So the more amount of models they had tested, obviously the harder it is to make that cut. Genesis was number 2. Now Genesis, if you don't know this, is the Highline division of Hyundai. They came out about 4 years ago, had a separate division, just like Lexus is Highline's division of Toyota. And then you've got Acura being the Highline division of Honda, and Infiniti, the Highline division of Nissan. So now Genesis has, in 4 short years, become one of the best cars. Last year, the year before, was number 1, and Porsche was number 2, and this year they flip-flop. Number 3 is Subaru. Subaru about 5 years ago was like number 10. Subaru is number 3, and what that means is that you can now buy a Subaru and get really good reliability. All Subarus are all-wheel drive, which makes them great in the snow and great on slippery surfaces, and you're not indirectly paying extra for it because it's in the base price of the car. You know, sometimes you look at a Ford Escape, for example, you got a front wheel drive or an all-wheel drive, and there's $2,000 difference between the two. Well, some people don't want to pay that extra. But when they put in the base price of the car, it kind of levels out because every one made is an all-wheel drive, so they become a good bargain. And we sell a lot of Subarus at Frontier Motors. Now, if you're going to buy a brand new Subaru, Billy Anderson is a local dealer. Go to Anderson Subaru. We always urge you to patronize our local dealers. But if you're going to buy used, look at what they've got and then compare it to what we have, and hopefully we will be the dealer of choice. The sleeper number 4 is Mazda. If you don't know this, by the way, Mazda is partially owned by Toyota, and so is Subaru. And that's maybe one of the reasons they've gone from not being that good of a car to being a really good car. And Mazda is definitely the car to go to especially if you're on a budget. You can get a pretty nice Mazda 3 for about $20,000 brand new and about $15,000 used. And when I talk about that, I don't want to get off on a subject here, but I want to talk about resale value. When we talk about, the difference between new and used, I always bring my friend Dave Ramsey with me. He does a commercial for us, and he kind of talks. He says it better than I do. Just take a listen.
Hey, Pensacola, Dave Ramsey here. Thinking of buying a brand new car? Well, that's a big mistake. Last year, the average new car was $36,000, and the first year depreciation was 27%. That equates to a whopping $9,200. Go to the dealer that specializes in low-mileage, one-year-old cars and trucks, my friends at Frontier Motors. They're a used car dealer that I'm proud to recommend. Frontier will save you money over the price of a new car and make the usually dreaded car buying experience a whole lot more enjoyable. They've been serving the Pensacola community for 23 years, and they do much more than just sell cars. Replacement value, diminished value after an accident, Carfax reports, appraisals, help with paperwork for private transactions. They will do it all at no charge. Visit them online at frontiermotorsinc.com or stop by their lot on Beverly Parkway. When you're there, don't forget to tell them Dave sent you.
Dave does a really good job saying in 1 minute what it takes me hours and hours to say. So I love having him make a commercial for us. So he's really good. And of course, it's really a feather in our cap when he picked Frontier Motors about a decade ago to be his dealer in Pensacola for recommendations based on Better Business Bureau reports and other reports that he ciphers through before he picks a dealer. So he actually picked us. We did not pick him. Number 5 is Lexus, my favorite car to sell. People say, well, why do you like the Lexus the best? Well, because they've been very consistent over the 23 years that I've been selling them. I don't remember ever having customers say, I wouldn't buy another one. They might buy a different one. They might buy a small car and then go to a bigger car in the Lexus brand, but nobody's ever not bought a car, and that's based on their phenomenal year after year reliability. Now, when we say brand, it's not reliability, folks. Brand is overall. So what they've got about 5 or 6 things that they gear on that makes up the best brand. And it's going to be things like roadability or drivability, same thing. Safety is going to be one of them. If there are some safety features missing that the Consumer Reports feels should be standard, they're not going to give you the higher rating. And another example would be customer/owner satisfaction. What did the owner say about that car after 1 year of driving the car? Would they buy another one? And of course, you've got reliability. So these are all the factors that they take into account when they come up with it. Now, Consumer Reports also has this every year just for reliability. And some people, there are certain criteria that make a car, that puts it on their list. And some people come in and say, it's got to be the most reliable car ever. I put 200,000 miles on my car, and if it doesn't last that, I don't want it. So they do all the research of which car is going to hit that 200,000 mile mark without costing you a lot of money. Some people come in and it's all about safety. I want the safest car out there. I got my daughter driving it. My son's driving it. I want a 5-star crash rating, which, by the way, most cars have, but some are not as good in side impact as they are in front and head. So there's a lot of features to look at when you talk about safety. Now, I do have to say that more and more the manufacturers are putting a lot of emphasis on safety. So you're actually going to be hard pressed to find an unsafe car anymore these days, especially with the new safety features. I have customers trading their car in for one reason alone. They want the new latest and greatest safety features like the automatic stopping. How important would that be when you're not paying attention? Or perhaps you're texting and driving, or you're doing something, or you get distracted by something, and the person in front of you is going 60 miles an hour and slams on their brakes to avoid something, and your car doesn't. Well, if you've got the automatic braking, your car is going to brake automatically and save your life. These are things that I'm talking about that people will trade for. And I get very irritated with my customers once in a while when I have a car that has all the safety stuff on it and they're comparing it to a car down the road that's $1,000 less and it doesn't have any safety features on it. And they say, well, I'm going to go buy that car. And I'm saying, are you kidding me? Your car's worth, my car's a $3,000 more expensive car because when you buy it used, that $3,000 worth of safety features depreciates at about 66%. So you're paying about 30% more you're paying $1,000 more for $3,000 worth of options. And the person says, I'm not interested in that. And I said, how can you not be interested? Is there anybody else that ever drives your car? Maybe if you don't care about your own life, what about somebody else's? Sometimes I can shame them into it, which I don't really like doing. I never do that with any other thing. I don't do that with reliability. If somebody wants an unreliable car, I don't talk them out of it. But when it comes to safety, to me, that's the most important thing on a car when one car has the feature. Now, there are some people that come in here and they'll buy a 7-year-old car because that's all they can afford. That doesn't have all the safety features on it. But minimally, what you want on the car, even if you don't have automatic braking, is you want, of course, all cars are going to have ABS brakes and they're going to have, but not all of them have stability control. You want to look for stability control. And if possible, you want to get a car with side curtain airbags because most accidents that I see in Pensacola are red light runners. These are broadside cars. Well, if you don't have side airbags, it doesn't help you, does it? You got a front airbag, but they don't go off if you get hit in the side. So get side airbags if possible. I'm getting off on a tangent, and we will go ahead and talk about the next subject, which is electric cars. I don't get it. I don't get what's happening in the industry. I've been in the car industry since I was 15 years old. I started as a janitor, then I became a lot attendant, then I became a salesperson, then a sales manager, general manager, and now owner. So I've been doing this for a long, long time. I've never seen quite what's happening in the car industry other than the COVID as what's happening right now with electric vehicles. And what I mean by that is, for example, California sales on electric vehicles. The number one selling car last month in California was a Honda Civic. Number 2 was a Camry. Number 3 was the electric Tesla Model 3. And they were really close to selling as many Teslas as Camrys. So Governor Newsom, is that his name? Yeah, I think it's Newsom, in California, has decided to mandate that by 2035, all cars sold in California have to be electric. Folks, you blink, it's going to be 2035. Sounds like such a long ways away. But he's saying that you cannot sell a car. You can still drive a car in California that's gas powered then, but you can't sell a car. Now, the interesting thing is, we normally stock about 350 cars. I have one electric car on the lot. It's a Tesla Model X, which is their SUV, the one with the gull wing doors. It's kind of a cool vehicle. It's an expensive vehicle, brand new. It's about $112,000. I've got this car on the lot. It's the only one within 400 miles for sale, used. It has, I believe, 16,000 miles on it. We have it on sale for $79,000, which is about $30,000 less than a new one. And nobody's bought it yet, and it's been there for 45, maybe 50 days. So what I'm saying is that nobody comes in to Frontier Motors, and we sell between 150 to 200 cars a month, and asks for an electric car. I'm talking like in the last 6 years, maybe one person. And that was a Mitsubishi iMEV. Have you ever heard of that? I-MEV. I never heard of it. They wanted me to locate one, which I did find one. So California's going all electric, and so is the rest of the darn world. I've got my automotive news here, and it tells me what's coming out. You know, and everybody's heard of, not everybody, maybe not you, but everybody's heard of the new Hummer, other than you. The new Hummer is an electric pickup truck produced by GMC. The Hummer name will be revived on a high-powered pickup that will be unveiled this month, go into production in late 2021, and arrive in the dealerships in early 22. The pickup is powered by GM's, they're not lithium, they're UL lithium batteries, which generates 1,000 horsepower. I don't know if you ever heard of the Dodge Demon. That's the most powerful production vehicle made in the U.S. That's got 705 horsepower. This electric Hummer is going to have 1,000 horsepower. It's going to go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It's going to have a base price of $113,000. Their base model will be $79,000 all the way up to $113,000. These are cars that are coming out. This is not concept cars. They're coming out with a Corvette, an electric-powered Corvette within 2 years. A BMW X5. Now, why do I laugh? I mean, I've got all these cars circled that are brand new cars. I'm not going to bore everybody by going through every single new electric car, but there are at least 50 of them. And there's some manufacturers that are going to all electric. They've said that we're going to go all electric in 6 years. All electric. I can't find a buyer for an electric car. Now, I think there's a reason for it. I don't know if it's our area here in Florida, but they have range anxiety. Now, what does that mean? Range anxiety means that you don't know how far you're going to be able to go on an electric car. I've had, when the Nissan Leafs first came out, one of the first pure electric car, they were advertised to go 100 miles on one charge, which around here in Pensacola, if you live downtown, you work like I work. I live downtown, work on Beverly Parkway. It's 8 miles. It's not a problem. Like 100 miles is a lot of range for me. But then they found out in the winter, like in Wisconsin, where I'm originally from, the range is only 50 miles. So now the range has been cut in half. 50 miles is not a long way. Where I lived in the Milwaukee area, I couldn't have made it to work and home on 50 miles. That's range anxiety. The furthest car, I think, is a Tesla Model S model. With their long range, you get a little over 300 miles out of that car. Now, I drove to Wisconsin last month. It's 1,000 miles. My anxiety, if I was going to take my Model X, which goes about 300 miles, wouldn't be the range itself, even though it was, because I was driving, made it up there in 2 days, drove 500 miles every day. But my problem was, where will you find the charger? They say that so far, there are 1.7 million 1.1 million electric cars on the road in the United States, 1.1 million, and there are 1.7 million chargers. But they find out that most of the chargers that are out there aren't on your expressways. They're at home. They're at people's houses, because when people buy an electric car, they buy a charger, most of them. Because if you plug it into 110, you get 5 miles per hour. So if you plug it in at night and you wake up in the morning, you got 50 miles on that car in 10 hours. In 20 hours, you got a 100-mile range. That's not a lot, is it, if you're going on a trip? That means if it's empty and all you got is a 110 plug, it's going to take you a darn week to get that thing all powered up, which is crazy. Now, if you're on 50 amp service, you get your charge in about 6 hours. If you go to a fast charger, which is what they have on the road at the hotels and places like that, you can charge your car in between 2 and 3 hours. But when you can gas up a car in 2 to 3 minutes and charge a car on a fast charger in 2 to 3 hours, it doesn't. And they make gasoline cars now that get 40 miles a gallon. Used to be you had to get a hybrid to get 40 miles a gallon. Toyota Corolla gas gets almost 40 miles a gallon. Matter of fact, I think they're rated at 40. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. That manufacturers saying they're not going to even make gas engines anymore. California saying they're not going to allow you to sell a gasoline motor anymore in 13 years or whatever it was. And I'm trying to figure out why nobody in Pensacola is coming and buying an electric car. Now, I do see Teslas on the road. I see the Model 3s. The Model 3s are a not very reliable car according to Consumer Reports, but a very good selling car because they are cool cars. Teslas, by the way, I'm not against a Tesla. I think they're really cool. I had a S model about 3 years ago, and one of the reasons that I loved the car, but I had the charging port went out. I couldn't charge it anymore. Plugged it at home in my 110 outlet, and nothing happened. So they said, "Well, you need a new port." I said, "Well, it's under warranty, so what do? There's no dealerships." Well, we'll have somebody there that makes the rounds for us. So I said, well, when will they be there? 2 weeks. I said, 2 weeks? They don't know that Frontier has 350 cars. I said, no, that's the only car I got. What am I going to do for 2 weeks? I don't know. That's not their problem. They don't provide a car for you. So now I could pay extra and get somebody there in 5 days. If I pay them an extra $250, they'll get somebody expedited out there, but still not next day service. Or if I have a problem with a car, where there's a car dealership involved, I can take it right to the dealer and say, hey, I just bought this car from you guys. Hey, this port thing, I want you to fix it. And they'll have it fixed the next day. That's the advantage of going to a car dealership. Tesla doesn't have car dealerships, and right now, they don't even have service stations. They have mobile repair people. So interesting. By the way, if you own a Tesla, we are live on Facebook right now. I've got Ryan O'Keely standing by to answer your question or maybe make a comment. Tell me what has happened with you as far as servicing the Tesla that you purchased maybe a year or so ago. Because I do have, some of my friends have Teslas, and I've yet to have any Tesla owner say they don't like the car. They might not like the range. They might not like the charging situation. And I see this happening at the Hilton down on the beach, where they got 2 charging stations. Heck, the charging stations are closer than the handicap parking. They're right in front, but they always got a car parked there. So their customers come in, they park their car and they plug it in, and 3 days later, they wave goodbye and they unplug it and they leave. So they're plugged in for 3 days. So they have a good parking spot. Crazy, isn't it? Tesla said they're going to start, if they haven't already, start charging to charge their car, because these chargers are free. Whenever you see a charger, just plug it in, it's free, no charge. I'm not wondering who's paying for that, because they're interchangeable. The government's trying to mandate it, so all the plugs are the same. Right now there's different plugs, but they have adapters, but they're trying to make it so they're all going to be the same. So anyways, I'm getting off track a little bit, but I don't understand. And if you've got an electric car, maybe you can let me know. I think it's great that there's 0 emissions. I think it's great that it's about 60% cheaper to own an electric car. There's very little maintenance on the car. You never have to change the oil. You don't have to replace the motor. You might have to replace the battery one day, but you don't have to replace the motor. So very little maintenance on the car as long as the car is reliable. The Tesla Model 3 is the number one selling car that they have. But again, it's not the most reliable. A lot of issues with the car. Most of them, though, can be updated by telephone, by software updates. So that's one good thing. Frontier Motors. What makes us different? Well, one of the things is we give you free advice whether you buy a car or not. We are not there just to grab your wallet and sell you a car. We're there not even to sell you a car. We're there to have you pick one out. And what's the difference? Well, you come to Frontier Motors with having that type of inventory. Our salespeople are trained not to ask stupid questions like, what's it going to take to put you in a car today? You ever hear that question when you go to a new car dealer? What's it going to take? What's it going to take? What's it going to take? And the reason they ask those questions is because they're so afraid that they're going to lose you to another dealer. Well, if you have a really good product in really good condition and a very fair price, it doesn't necessarily have to be the cheapest price. It has to be the best value. What I mean by value means the most equipment, the lowest miles, and the best condition. That all those three, it's like what makes the best brand. It's not necessarily one thing. One car might be the fastest. Fastest doesn't make it the best car. One car might be the safest. Doesn't necessarily make it the best car. And one dealer might have the best price, doesn't make it the best deal if it's not a good car, or if it's not in good condition, if it hasn't been taken care of, if it doesn't have a clean history report, maybe if it's an ugly color. Do you know that color makes a difference when you buy a used car? That an ugly color I can buy cheaper than a good color. So you could have the same car with the same condition, the same mileage, the same equipment, and have $1,000 to $1,500 price difference. Because people tell me all the time, I found one in Miami, it's $1,000 cheaper, and I pull up that car, I find out which dealer it was, I pull it up, and I go, my God, it's purple with a pink interior. No wonder it's cheaper. Who's going to buy that car? And that's what makes the difference. It's got to be the best value, and that's what you find at Frontier Motors. And that's what sets us apart. It's also how we get there. What we do, after you look at a car, you test drive a car, the next question is, well, what's the best you can do? We find that answer within 15 minutes, and it's going to be an out-the-door figure, including if you have a trade-in. So we're going to look at your trade-in, we're going to scan the ID number, we're going to take it around the block. Our salesman is going to go to a sales manager, and he's going to say, we need the best deal on this particular car. And we put it in writing, not on the back of a business card in chicken scratch. We put it on a worksheet So you know what the figures are and how we got to those figures, and it's going to include everything, including the taxes, the dock fee, the tax on the dock fee, electronic title fee. It's going to have a title fee on there. It's going to have the tag transfer. If you need a new tag, it's going to have the tag fee on there. Everything is going to be totaled up so you know what to write the check for, or you know what to finance, whether you're financing through the dealership or your own source is immaterial. That figure is going to be the same. And by the way, there's no difference whether you pay cash or finance. It's actually illegal in the state of Florida to have a dealer charge more. You know, sometimes you see these smaller dealers that say cash only, $49.95. That's illegal. Whether you finance or you pay cash, there can be no difference in the state of Florida. And we'll give you that out-the-door figure. That way you can compare. Now, how do we do this and sell as many cars as we do? How have we become the #1 independent dealership in Pensacola? Well, one reason is because we know what the competition has. We have a computer that tells me every car like the one you're looking for. It defaults to 150 miles. I can go nationwide, like on the X model that we have in stock. If there's none with 150 miles, I can go 500 miles. That includes Orlando, it's going to include New Orleans, it's going to include Atlanta. And let's say there's 50 of them out there, I can tell you which every one of those is, the equipment on every one of those cars. I can't tell you the condition, but I can tell you the mileage, and I can tell you the color, and I can tell you the equipment. And I can tell you how ours rates compare to their price. And if ours is going to be on the lower end of that scale, and we have it in stock, and we're a local dealer, you're going to buy the car from us. By the way, you also get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty from the date of manufacture. So if you're buying a 1-year-old car, our warranty is going to go all the way for another 9 years. Most manufacturers' cars' warranties are 3 years to 5 years. For example, a Chevrolet has a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. If you buy a 1-year-old Chevy from us, you're going to get 9 years up to 100,000 miles on the engine, transmission, and drive axle. In writing. That gives us a leg up on the competition that doesn't offer that. Ryan is telling me that we've got 2 minutes left, so I want you to check us out on Facebook. By the way, this show also is going to be on Facebook. It's also going to be on YouTube. So you can, if you have somebody that's looking for a car and they want to know a little bit about Frontier Motors, tell them, hey, go on YouTube, type in Frontier Motors. We've got like the last 5 or 6 shows are going to be on there. And again, what we really offer the public is not just the fact that we sell cars, but that we will help you buy a car and sell a car. And what that means is that if you've got a car and you want to sell, you're doing the Dave Ramsey thing and you're going to go from a 2-car family down to 1-car family, bring us the car. Within 15 minutes, I will give you a buy bid on that car. That means here's a check. Or we'll pay the car off for you, and then when the title comes in, we'll give you the balance. So it makes it really easy for you to dispose of a car without, especially in these COVID days, without people coming to your house. So just sell us the car. You'll be surprised that we pay more than wholesale, but less than retail. Somewhere in the middle where you're getting a good buy, I can still make money, but yet a customer is buying it from us is still getting a fair price. So it has to work for everybody involved, and then everybody's happy. FrontierMotorsInc.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.